Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Suzanne, and over the last 10 plus years, I've been working with and continue to work with many educators who teach investing skills and strategies. And I've met all sorts of personalities in that time. And what I've learned is how to get to the bottom of what they know and pull out some nuggets of wisdoms to get to the core of what they teach. So today I'm going to be asking AJ Brown, the president and founder of Trading Trainer, a juicy question, and let's see if I can pull out some great advice for our viewers. Hi AJ, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me back.
I'm glad you're here. Well, I have a question to ask, but before I get into that, I just wanted to take a moment and say you have some fantastic initiatives going on at Trading Trainer. And one I've found that's extremely valuable is your white papers. And you cover everything in those from scenario testing to diagonal spreads.
It's
So
true.
I'm wondering if you can take a moment and tell our listeners how they can get their hands on them.
Oh, it's really simple. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, make it visual here. So you open up any browser on your computer, and in the address bar, you're simply going to type in tradingtrainer.com, TradingTrainer.com. And when you visit that website, you're going to see right here on our tradingtrainer.com homepage some images flashing by. We call it our carousel of images. And you can let them go by on their own time, or if you're impatient like I am, you can click these little arrows and you're going to look for the one that says white papers. And as soon as you find it, click on the download the white papers now button. It'll give you very clear instructions on how to get yourself a free account in our web portal. Not only will we have those white papers for you to download in our web portal, but we have all sorts of bonuses. That web portal is just chock full of all sorts of bonuses that we keep putting in there for all of our complimentary access users. So please become one of those folks and not only download those white papers, but get all access to all kinds of other things that we've put in there.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I have a complimentary account and there's some good stuff in there. So please go do that. All right, now let's get into the question I want to ask you, and that is, what first attracted you to trading?
What a great question. You know, it's really interesting because I grew up in a situation where my mom had me always evaluating different sorts of investments. I grew up in the late 1970s when one of the best investments at the time was Treasury bills. The interest rate was so high. We've been spoiled with these low mortgage rates, but in the end of the 1970s, you know, you'd pay 14, 15% for a mortgage, and the Treasury bills were paying just as high. And so she taught me how to purchase and buy and sell and take care of Treasury bills. We lived in Washington, D.C., and I would ride the subway in even as a young little, fourth grader, and go to the Treasury Department and buy them in person. And all those folks knew who I was and when I was coming in order to reinvest our family portfolio. With that said, then I got caught up in following, what society taught us to do, which was go to school, go to college, get a 9-to-5 job. And after going through all of that, and I found myself sitting, fast forward about 20-something years, sitting in a cube city that you see in these movies. In Silicon Valley, I was working for a company called Hewlett-Packard, and it was in this big, giant building where we had all these little cubes, and
Very corporate then, huh?
very corporate. And I was sitting there, in this little factory of humans, wondering what the heck. And I had a investment plan. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was making nice money for trading my time. But I had an investment financial planner that I had hired, and this was right before the dot-com boom. and people were starting to make a lot of money on their investments. We were talking about it at the water coolers, and my financial planner wasn't doing that well. And I started to investigate a little further, and I realized I had sat down with him only a couple times, and I had told him, he said, "What kind of investor do you want to be?" And I said, "I want to, I'm young. I want to be somewhat aggressive." And so Mark would trade the money that I was earning at HP for me, but I wasn't making any returns. And what I realized is at the time, Mark was getting paid every time he traded for me. So he loved that I had told him in the first session that I wanted to be an aggressive trader, but he wasn't out there to really make me money. He was making himself money on all the commissions he was earning. And so I really looked at what his motivation was for helping me and realized it wasn't for my benefit, it was for his. And I said, "You know what? I come from an investing background, and I don't know how I got detoured, but I'm going to regain my foothold here and make this one of the things I become smart at." And I have to say, it was 1997 when I started to go to all sorts of seminars. Back then, they weren't offered on the web like they are now. Now you can do everything by webinar, but back then you had to spend your weekends in hotel conference rooms, and you'd show up. Maybe some of the listeners can identify with this. You'd show up in the morning or the afternoon for like a 3-hour session, and then they'd talk you into paying a little bit more to come back for all day Sunday, and then if they really got you, you'd wind up going to a destination place. And I did all sorts of these seminars in 1997.
And that was pricey. Yeah. I
oh my
remember
gosh.
those.
Yeah.
Expensive.
And don't get me wrong, I still go to all those seminars. Now, like I said, a lot of them are offered on the web. And I'm still learning things from them, but I spent more in that first year than I had spent on my engineering degree at college. And not only that, in addition to the amount I paid all the, quote, gurus, I also paid a fortune in, rushed trades where I learned from trial and error that was not something you did. In fact, I think I paid 4 times as much as what I paid for the learning in lost trades. It was a good thing I was a single guy earning a good wage and living pretty minimalistic back in those days. Couldn't imagine doing that now with a family and all of that. But that was the beginning. And I really want to say that anybody who isn't letting their money make money for them and instead is still in this rat race of trading your precious time for money should really look into doing some sort of investing, some sort of trading, because it set me free. In 2005 was the last time I ever worked in a full-time job. It's been wonderful to just manage my portfolios and allow my money to make money for me, and I can use my time any way I want.
Yeah, that's a very attractive thing for a lot of people. I know a lot of our listeners are hoping that that's something they can achieve. So thank you for sharing that with us. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you one more chance to tell our viewers and listeners how they can get their hands on the white papers. Can you go through that one more time?
Yeah, now that's an easy explanation. So you're going to visit our tradingtrainer.com website. Here, let me share my screen. Tradingtrainer.com. That's TradingTrainer.com. And when you go to this web page, you'll come to our homepage automatically, and you'll see there are these images right at the top. We call it our carousel of images, and you can scroll through them pretty quickly with these arrows, big giant arrows on the right and left here, and you look for the one that says white papers, and click on the big button there that says download the white papers now, and it'll bring you to a simple tutorial on how to get free access to our web portal. And I want you to do that because not only will you find our white papers for you to download, you'll get all sorts of other materials that you can download as well. We keep filling that web portal for our complimentary users with all sorts of goodies. So I want you to get every single bonus. Go there right now and grab those white papers. It's easy to get a free account. You won't be sorry.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that with us, AJ, and thanks for taking the time to tell us a little bit about why you got into trading. Next time we talk, I'll be asking AJ, do you have a favorite indicator? And if so, what is it and why? So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everyone. And thanks, AJ.
All right. Take care.